know that shit was kind of abrupt. And I gotta get used to the camera here. Hang on. Hang on. It's all coming in now. It's not too bad. There we go. All right, so we are back. We are ready. Well, I'm back. We're ready. This is chapter 1186, One Piece. We have the TCB scans. Everything that we have read so far, the brief spoilers, the full spoilers have just come to a head and we can actually visualize it. And when I say we, I mean me. And if this is your first time here at Edge 2 Gaming or Edge 2 Otaku, I'm Elijah 5000, and this is your place, specifically today, for One Piece content. I bring you the weekly One Piece manga content from the brief spoilers, full spoilers, TCB scans, and the actual live reads that come on Sunday. But also, anything anime or manga is on the Edge 2 Otaku YouTube page, but it comes and funnels through Twitch here at Edge 2 Gaming. Let's go ahead and take the socials off the screen. Let's go ahead and get to it. If this is your first time here and you don't know how this works, I read the manga and describe it to you. I get very descriptive. And then Sunday, when the manga comes out, we actually read it together and you guys actually get to see the official panels via Shonen Jump. That being said, let's go ahead and dive in. Let me find like a actual playlist so we can just go ahead, there we go, and let that play. It's by Rifty Beats. Before we get started with the actual chapter, got to give a shout out and got to show some love to sponsors of the show. Let's go ahead and pull them up again so you know what the websites look like when you go. Emmy Eats Ramen, that's IMMIEATS.com. Go there, use promo code EDGE2G to get $5 off your purchase on any online orders. Emmy Eats Ramen is the world's first high fiber, plant-based, low carb, low sodium ramen. And black, I've had some internet issues, as you can see. I was about to see how many are coming up. There we go. Okay, we had most of them. So let's go through. They have 6 different flavors. We're going to see at least 3. Roasted pork tonkatsu. The creamy chicken. You have your spicy red miso. They also have tom yum shrimp. Then spicy beef, these didn't come up, and black garlic chicken. Those are the first 3 flavors they had. If you follow them on social media, they will show you different ways you can pep up your ramen and make it more authentic, and then add different flavors, mix and match, and just make it your own. Again, this is Emmy Eats. Go to emmyeats.com. Use promo code EDGE2G to get $5 off your purchase. Again, high fiber, high protein, low carbs, low sodium, all plant-based ramen. Then we have Switchery.com. If you are a Nintendo Switch fan, if you just watched the Nintendo Direct, this is where you want to go to not only safeguard. That's the first thing. You have to safeguard your Switch, but you also want to add accessories to it. Thumb grips, cases, stands. Here's the stand that we saw the other. Zelda. One Piece stand. Pikachu stand. Platoon stand. Video game, anime theme, all around fun. Thumb grips and shit. Like, I know I got to get some Howl's Moving Castle thumb grips. Totoro, Kirby, Pikachu, whatever you want. Use promo code EDGE10 to get 10% off your online purchase. They cover everything for every single Nintendo Switch in history. And it's good shit. Like, the Sailor Moon shit is always cute. Like, I'm not going to lie. Sailor Moon is probably by far the best. I wish they'd add some Berserk shit, but just submitted a suggestion there. I was going to say complaint, but suggestion, and they might add it to the roster. I have not bought anything new yet. I need some new shit. I always mention Gengar. Ghost type Pokemon are always the best. Psychic Pokemon, all that shit. But they have, like, I might get this Shiba Inu thumb grips because I just started reading can't remember the manga, but it's all about Shiba Inus, and they are ghosts in this apartment complex, and this girl actually moves to apartment complex but doesn't want to live with a dog. And it is the very first chapters, I want to say 75 pages, something like that. So some of these manga that are coming out, I think it's already finished. It's only like a 23 chapter manga, but it's very cute. It's got dogs, and you can get thumb grips to match while you're reading it on your Nintendo Switch or playing games, whatever you want to do. That being said, now let's go ahead and dive into the TCB scans. This chapter 1186 is once more we start a cover request by Sanadango, Loki covertly drawing Ida, who is secretly amused by it. And she's in the back. She has like a little basket giving it to a lion or a wolf in the back while Loki's trying to draw her face and her name is underneath while a giant snake and a giant lion are watching him. We then go to our very first page, BROOK'S Past, the world government versus Esperia. We start, Esperia is continuing to be slaughtered by the world government. Brook is all fucked up. Everything is fucked up. Everything's in flames. And we hear, don't give up, as we see ships continuing to come in. There's like 4 ships from the world government coming into the port. Then we see some of the guards from Brook's convoy, his battle convoy, saying winning independence is our only shot at survival, as boom, right after they say that, they get shot down by fucking military soldiers. Then we see Brook, and it's just like a swirl around his face and his afro. And he's like, what? He just can't believe it because he sees Shuri. And he also sees a man smoking a cigar, and he sees a demon, which is Marcus Mars, in his demonic form, just aura farming the shit out of the room. And he has no idea what's going on. Then we get a wide angle of the room that they're all in, and we see, again, the man sitting, smoking a cigar behind Shuri. Shuri directly in front of him with her sword in her hand. Brook now down on his knees, trying to grab King Leuven, and then we have Marcus Mars in demonic form with Emu on his back, like Emu took over Saturn, just sitting there looming over them. And we hear, we need a medic, quick, Brook says. The king's in critical condition. Big bro, hang in there, big bro, please, you gotta. And then we see just a close-up of Leuven, not his face, but his body's just sitting there in Brook's hand, and Brook's like, big bro, and Brook starts to scream. You can see anger on his face, and he starts to think back to the past, and he's sitting there and says, are you a fan, mister? Don't call me mister, as he goes over the first conversation they have. Brook's huffing, puffing, his eyes are welling up with tears, and we see the flashback of him and Leuven standing on a mound. And Brook goes, yo, ho, ho, well, I suppose I'll just call you big bro. And he laughs. And then we get a close-up of his face with the broken goggles on top of his head. And then we see Leuven's face as he says, big bro, just smiling in the past. And then Brook is over him, tears, snot coming out of his nose. Big bro, he yells. And we see Emu just sitting there looking like, you know, when you catch a dog doing something, you call their name and they just like, huh. That's Emu. Emu's just sitting there like, what is emotions? I've heard people talk about these, but what the fuck are you doing? And then we hear, where's the damn medic, from Brook? But we see the doors are empty. No one's coming in. And then it says, this sudden intrusion. The door slam. Bam. Black flames around the room. Brook looks up. He's surprised. It's quite the inconvenience, we hear. Then Shuri says, Brook, you know that guy is dead already, huh? Right? And he looks at her at the side, and he's just like crazy-eyed with tears coming down. And then he points his sword to the man that's behind Shuri and says, you, who are you? What have you done to Princess Shuri? You see, I've watched over Shuri since she was a baby. She's totally incapable of this. There's nothing I don't know when it comes to the princess. And then Shuri gets in front of him. She says, then tell me, Brook, did you know that I am a celestial dragon? And Brook lowers his sword, shocked, as we see King Leuven laying on the ground. And then she continues, this guy wasn't my real father. Did you know that? And then Brook goes, don't call him this guy. And he goes, huh? Then we see Brook yelling as he's towering over Shuri. He's like, what are you even saying? You are the child of King Leuven. That's a fact. And then Shuri goes, can you prove it? As she's standing there with demon horns, just composed, the wings on her back, and Brook starts to yell again, that's irrelevant when it comes to the bond between a parent and a child. And then Shuri says, it isn't. This is the life-changing news. I should have been raised as a celestial dragon. These past 16 years were a complete waste. Don't you understand how angry that makes me? And then she stares dead ass in Brook's eyes and says, and that demand for 1,000 slaves, it isn't true. This guy just wanted. This guy just didn't want to hand me over. And Brooke goes, "Stop calling him that." And she goes, "This guy was a good-for-nothing king who pointlessly led his people to their doom." And then the camera pans out, but the angle is from the floor at the base of the shrine. It's not even a shrine of whatever the fuck this dude's sitting on, but the base of where the god of night is sitting on. And she goes, "That's why I made him take responsibility. With the king dead, this war is over," Shuri says to Brooke. And Brooke goes, "But defeat will make our nation a lawless land." And she goes, "That is no longer my concern." And then silence as we get a text box saying, "Knight of God, Saint Manmeyer, Grollo." Now, I've heard, I think it's Grollo, and it's supposed to run with a theme of Candle and Shuri, like a light flame, Candle. Nice little cute homage to, what's that movie, Beauty and the Beast? Now we see him sitting there. He pulls his, I thought it was a cigarette from his mouth. He goes, "I remember you now. There was a kid with an afro among Candle's apprentices." He says, "You weren't allowed to come near me." And you look, and he has these, what the fuck are they? Hopefully we find out in a minute. They are two different color eyes, heterochromatic, some shit. God, now I gotta look it up. Hang on, cause it's bothering me. But he's got the same eyes as Shuri does. Heterochromia, that's what it is. He has heterochromia, just like Shuri does. Then we see Brooke, as he looks in his eyes, shocked, and Brooke falls to the floor. And he goes, "That eye." And then Saint Grollo says, "We wouldn't normally come all the way to a backwater country like this to retrieve a single brat, but this kid possesses those mismatched eyes. Being born with that trait is truly rare, and the Great One desires them so." He goes, "I didn't awaken it myself, but she might." And then we hear from Imu, "Thou hast said too much, Grollo." "Oh, forgive me, Great One." "Hey, Shuri," he says, as he turns away, and Shuri is looking dead at Brooke on the floor. And Brooke goes, "Huh?" And this confirms that one of our theories but it confirms even more. There was a reason that they wanted Shuri. There was a reason that he got, maybe Grollo could mate better with Candle, or maybe he was just going around fucking people, just like maybe Garland was. Maybe he only took up Shanks and Shamrock because they possessed him. I don't know. Because remember, he came and saw the kids and then he killed the mom. Maybe that should happen here. But either way, Emu wanted those eyes. Emu specifically wanted this trait. Because there's something with these eyes, kind of like puddings, that hadn't awakened in this god of night we have here in Grollo. So we continue. Brooke's looking. He's like, "Huh?" And then we hear, "No, wait. This is just a dream," right from Brooke as he's holding up his sword. And then we see him tearing up as he leans back. "I used to change your diapers. I know everything about you, princess." Motionless, expressionless, she just walks towards Brooke. She continues. She raises her sword. He's leaning back with his sword out, trying to gain distance. And she goes, "You're so patronizing. Shedding tears like that is beyond pathetic. I deserve strong protection. If I go to the Holy Land, I won't need you anymore." And Brooke just stands there, shocked in horror, tears running down his face. And he remembers baby Shuri, little Shuri, holding his hand. "To me, you were always an angel, but now you look like a demon," as her wings fly open and she gets ready to pierce Brooke. "Gavant." And then he thinks of King Luffy, and he's like, "I can't protect Big Bro, the man who saved my life." He drops his sword on the ground. So he didn't even defend himself. We know he could have. And Shuri looks dead at him and starts to thrust. "Bon avant," as she stabs the sword through his head, straight through the afro. And we hear in his mind, "From frogs to cattle, from kings to chattel, on the dead you'll find only bones get left behind. Bones alone, as everyone knows, That's just the way the story goes. As he sings in his head, as he falls to his knee, Shuri's sword still in his head. He falls back. She pulls it out, turns away with wings wide, and walks away with her daddy, Saint Grollo. Then we see Commander, all these bandaged men standing over here. Commander Brook, he's awake. It's a miracle. And Brook's waking up. It's so long that he has a fucking beard now, or he has stubble now. And it's fucked up. It's funny because I know to wrap his head, they're going to have to wrap his head, but they wrapped his afro. You got to shave that head. But either way, they wrap Brook's head, and they're like, I'm shocked. A sword went through your head, and you survived. Another soldier says, it's a miracle it missed your major blood vessels and the brainstem, the brain itself. And then Brook sits up and he goes, what about the king? I'm not sure how much I remember. And then it's like, I'm not sure how much you remember, Commander. We shouldn't give you too much of a shock. And he goes, no, I want you to tell me. We failed. The king is dead, they say. And as they say this, we see the ports fucked up. Esperia's in shambles, but the world government is gone now. The remnants of the happy inhabitants of Esperia are trying to put together the pieces, and Brook sets up in the bed surrounded by his men. And one of them says, an eyewitness saw Princess Shuri boarding a government ship, and Brook's just sitting there stunned, and then his eyes open. Most citizens have already fled the country. It doesn't matter where they go now, they'll be refugees now, another soldier says. And then Brook remembers Shuri's face, how evil she looked, the demonic look in her eyes. Then King Luffy dead on the ground. And he goes, why? He starts to yell, he screams. And we see a panned out vision of Esperia. It looks like it's covered in moss, but you can tell the sky is just cloudy. The seas are choppy. It's shit right now because this is Brook's despair. And they're like, Commander, oh no, his wound's reopened. Commander, stay with us. And we see Brook crying, holding his head as blood shoots out and spills down his face from the bandages. They're like, Commander, Commander. And then we come back to the present, and Dead Bones Humming Brook himself is sitting there dressed in his ELBAPH guard with his hand on his head. And it's the opposite hand that he had just a minute ago in the past. But he says, back then, I didn't even know what a devil fruit was. He's like, the princess seemed so different after the king's murder. It was chilling. She looked just like a demon. He's like, but I always thought I was hallucinating. If that was actually real, though. And then we see Nami and Usopp, huh? He goes, hey, you guys. And he cries. And they're like, do you think it's okay if and we have a close-up of Jinbei. You know, he's not really shocked, but he's honoring Brook. He's like, oh, you know, Brook means this shit. Let me listen. Usopp is shocked. Nami's starting to tear up, and Frankie's crying his ass off already. He says, do you think if it's okay if I put my faith in Princess Shuri once more? And then we see Shuri trapped in a block of ice. Because remember, Loki told us the only thing that can break ice that has been generated and created by Ragnar is Ragnar. And we see her in the ice. He says, if she is a victim then, and her hand is held out, her heterochromia eyes are sitting there looking out. And in her mind, the last thing that was said was, run, Brook. And then we see her just stuck in the block of ice. And then Brook is remembering, is that just because I'm their daughter, as she stuck out her lips as she was pouty? Then it goes back to Gunko stuck in and trapped in the ice. And then we go back to Brook. I want to save her. Princess Shuri, as tears drop down his face as he cries to the rest, I mean, not the rest, but, you know, his fellow Nakama, his crew members. Please, everyone, lend me your strength. And we see Frankie and Jinbei stand in the back, Usopp and Nami on the ground as he bows his head asking for their help. And then Jinbei cracks his knuckles. He says, no need to be so formal. Let's hurry up and smash that ice. Nami grabs Zeus and her climactic, and she goes, I wonder if lightning will do the trick. Then Frankie crying, a radical beam is our best bet. And remember, Frankie's got souped up. Remember, he's got that super cola. And then Usopp is like, it seems like explosions don't work. What should I do? As he looks around. I had to take a pause. Everybody's here to help. Everybody's here to do shit. Fucking Nico Ramen did some genjutsu shit and shadow clone jutsu, and Usopp did shoot Shuri. Usopp technically is the first person to kill Shuri. He shot her whole upper body off, but he's like, what do I do now? Figure out fucking something else out. You're supposed to be a warrior, bro. Like, Usopp, please, 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 please. Please just. Please just. And then we see Brook, as he does on the water, running as fast as possible. And Frankie puts his hands up. He's like, hey, Brook, wait up. And Brook is crying, oh, as he runs as fast as he can towards Gunko. And then we head over to the Walrus School cafeteria. Wow, I'm stuffed, we hear. And then this motherfucker kicks his boots off. And he had his chanclas on in the boots. Luffy throws them boots off and stands on the ground with the vein coming out his calf, saying, that's crazy. That crazy new guy is ELBAPH's enemy, right? Then he's my enemy too, as he's finishing eating meat. He's like, I'm overflowing with power. I'm the way I'm feeling right now. And he springs off of the table, crushing it. I don't think I can lose. Into the air. Then we see the fucking giant Loki, ancient ELBAPH body holding Ragnar in his hand like this. He said, targeting kids, the world government sure plays dirty. And then Emu is not as big as him. He's the size of a giant. He's about the size of Hydruden, I think. And Emu's just like, thou art ignorant of the reason then. And Luffy is just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Emu goes, shall I enlighten thee? And it pans into his face. 800 years ago, the giant race were defeated in a bid to rescue their children. So this has happened once before. But as he starts, Loki is holding Ragnar, looking up at him. He goes, 800 years ago? What are you saying? Emu says, a few centuries is not nearly enough to change the nature of a race. Without fail, thine people inevitably bent the knee when thine offspring are taken. And it shows us a panel now of the kids being taken by Zaza. So did Zaza do this before? Or were they taken like a different way? Because the first plan was to get them on a ship. But it might have been Zaza. Then we see old Brogy and Dory, one stacked on top of the other. Just yelling. Actually, it's Brogy and Hyrule, my bad. And then Emu says, ignorance of these signifies of what is occurring is irrelevant. History always repeats itself. 'Tis already too late. Thou art all slaves of Mu. And then Loki yells, you prick, what are you trying to say? And then we hear, hey, dumbass, because Loki's getting ready to swing and Luffy is in the little hole in between Ragnar and Loki, and we see Luffy's hand stretched back, and Emu like, what the fuck? And Luffy goes, get off of ELBAPH, and blast him, hand coated in hockey, and his face is fucked up like Charlo's. Hand still here, like he was trying to say, no, don't hit me, but he got his head turned to the side, cheek all busted up, hockey coming off, black lightning, and Emu has been hit. One strike from Monkey D. fucking Luffy. So these are the TCB scans. We just read through it. We went through BROOK'S past. What happened with Shuri in that room? Why Saint Grollo was there. He didn't even give a fuck about Shuri. He was just there to have an offspring to try to produce these heterochromia eyes so that way Emu could have whatever he wants. So Emu knows so much about the fucking world. We know that Big Mom knew about pudding and her ability. What is up with Shuri's eyes? There's just so many fucking different like abilities and like birth abilities that we don't know about, like different races being born. It seems like it's the whole reason Emu goes to the lower world, is to try to produce these very specific bloodlines for more Knights of God, because we've already been told that the Celestial Dragons are just placeholders. They are idiots, and they're told they're better than everybody else, and they're given free reign to do that because it covers up the real society, the real underworld of the world government and Emu and the elders and shit like that. So this is okay. So Luffy and Zoro and Sanji heard Loki's story, which gave them the story of Davy D. Zebek, which gave them the story of King Harold, which gave them some story of Emu. Nami, Jinbei, Frankie, Usopp know Brook's story, which takes place back before then and it fills in gaps, but it tells about the world government and Emu, and they're down for Brook. They're like, Brook's crying, Brook's ready to save somebody. Hell, like Nami's pissed. She's like, yes, we're gonna save her. And this is the second time Nami's been pissed. Remember, Nami got pissed about Nico Robin. Nami gets pissed about the kids. Nami got pissed about Tama. Nami is getting pissed about her friends and the people that are close to them. Usopp's the only one that I'm hoping still. I believe and trust in Oda's abilities. He's been doing this for too long, but I do not know what Usopp arc is right now, when this is the place that him and Luffy and even Chopper wanted to visit. Like, really him and Luffy, but you know, Chopper was excited. Chopper, I think everybody right now, Jinbei hasn't really, we saw him use the Cloud Sea, but he hasn't got a power up yet, but it seems like everybody's getting a boost. Brook is going to get a boost. Brook can be the one to save Shuri because he had her snap out of Emu's control. Yeah, there's too much coming. This Sunday, the official Shonen Jump release drops at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll read it later in the evening before we do the podcast at 7:30. Because I take time to listen to native speakers go over and try to make sure that the translations are correct, because the majority of the time they are not. There's things that are lost in translation or just are only noticeable to native speakers that live with a dialect the entire time that they're alive. So I'll bring you whatever I learned from that into our stream as we do the live read. See if anything else that we predicted is confirmed. But this right here shows pretty much like the Celestials came just for Candle to have this kid. And when it was known that she had this kid, now they wanted Shuri back. And Luffy lied to keep his daughter. That's who he loved. He loved his family. He married Candle either after she was raped or either after she was forced to have a kid. We still don't know. Based how it's written, she loved Luffy. But if there was someone else she was a sword for that she loved, if it was Emu or if it was Grollo, we need to know that as well, because it changes like her intentions. But either way, they came for Shuri because Grollo's eyes didn't activate. You know, what has Shuri been doing up till then? Have her eyes activated since then? Because now she's on the front line, but she's also been in Emu's boudoir. So let me know what your theories are. Leave them in the comments. Make sure to subscribe. And if you are an Amazon Prime wielder such as I, go to the channel page, twitch.tv/edge2gaming. Look at the bottom, all those channels there. Support those channels. If there's something that you're looking for, most likely one of us stream it. You like the stream, go ahead and use your free subscription every month to support us, and that helps us keep bringing the same shit to you and help support each other. That's the only way that we get through this streaming game. You know, we got to support each other and we got to be here for each other, and that's why we're trying to create communities of like-minded individuals. Do you have to monetarily support? No, not at all. Sharing, coming in, liking, all that shit is greatly appreciated. That's what I want, because that builds our community from the base. But if you do want to give a little bit more, that's also appreciated as well. If you have Amazon Prime, you can give for free. So that being said, thank you guys. This has been 1186 One Piece, the TCB scans for this week. Sunday, we will be back with the live read. Make sure to stay here for more streams and follow the YouTube channel. The more likes we have, the more we can do. Patreon, you know, the drizzling shits today could not stream for the Patreon crowd. I'll have to upload that for you later. But getting up to a certain number allows Patreon to bypass Streamlabs, and I don't have to worry about that bullshit no more. And so that way, if you are a part of the tiers on Patreon, you get immediately what you want, when you want, and we get to do our watch parties and stream a little bit earlier than our normal stream. So yeah, check that out. Help out. Thank you guys. I'm Elijah 5000. I'll catch you in the next one. Time to go to work. Peace.